And we're off. Good evening, everybody. How are you?
Good.
Seriously?
Well, now that we're here.
I'm sorry. It must have been New Year's Eve, right? Did everyone go out and everyone go clubbing? Is that what happened? Yeah, everyone went. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Let me try it again. Good evening, everybody.
Good evening.
That'll work for me. We'll start with there and we'll move forward from that. My name is Matt Browning. I'm the founder of Evolution Seminars. We are a hypnotherapy and training, NLP training company. And well, tonight, what we're going to be doing, who knows what we're going to be doing tonight? Anyone know? Yeah? Nobody know? Okay, good. Who's ever been here before to this room for an event or a meetup or something like that? Hi, I'm proud. Come on. Okay, cool. Excellent. And who has never been here before and first time ever, you got dragged here? Oh, God, that guy too? Oh. Well, welcome. I know you don't know what's in store for you, but I hope that you're going to figure out one way or another whether it's good for you or better for you. We'll see. I was sitting in traffic for the last hour and change, so my mind is already a little bit but I'm sure you'll forgive me. And anyone else in that place? Yeah? Okay, good. Let's all carpool together. So what we do is, tonight is all about I want to teach you something that either you don't know yet or you've learned before, but I want to give you a new twist to it. How many people have learned something called NLP, Neuro-Linguistic Programming, previously? Who knows what NLP is? Okay, cool. About half of you, 60% of you. So if you know NLP, you might be familiar with this, and you're going to learn something in a completely different way. What I find repeatedly is my students that come through this, they always say as they walk away that, I've learned this from multiple different teachers sometimes, and every time I hear something from you, I get a deeper distinction, a new nuance. And if you've never heard of that thing that I just said before, please don't worry, because I'm going to give this evening as if we were in kindergarten together. That's what I like to do. I like to pretend like it's kindergarten. So I like to have fun, and that's just how I like to learn. So I don't know if anyone's in for that or not, but I like things simple. Yeah. I remember sitting at, I was speaking on stage at an event in LA a few months back, and the person who went on before me was a quantum physicist. And like a real one, and he, not like the what the bleep do we know really fun people who go, guess what, the world is a quantum reality and you can create anything. These were the guys who were like, so here, let me show you my theorem and let me show you the formulas. And I was about to fall asleep because it was so far advanced beyond anything I've ever done that I had no idea how to follow it. And what I learned from that, of course, is I always teach well below the level that I want to learn at. I just want to keep things as simple as possible. So tonight, here's what we're going to do. We're going to get into a little bit of some fun stuff. I'm going to be teaching some things, and then I think I'm deciding right now, if you can't tell, I think I'm going to pull somebody up and experiment, demonstrate on them and show you how this really works, okay? And we're not going to have time to actually go through and start to do a bunch of things together, but I think the best way to use tonight is going to be to give you as much information as humanly possible. And I want you to walk away with a very new understanding of the way your brain works. Does that sound good? Okay, good. So, tonight we're going to talk about unconscious conflict and sabotage. Now, if you came from a meetup or one of the meetup communities, you probably read about that, or if you saw an email. If somebody dragged you, you have no clue what's going to happen, so I'm going to tell you. Have you ever found that somewhere in life, whether it's yourself or somebody else, have you ever found like a time when you sabotage your own success? Anyone ever done that before? No, not today. But I'm sure none of you maybe done that. But does anyone here know someone who has? Anyone know a friend who's done that? Anyone know a friend really intimately who sabotaged themselves before? Now, here's what I mean by that. You finally get that dream job you want, and a few months later, you do something to screw it up. Or you get that great relationship. You meet that person. You've been wanting them to ask you out for months. The day finally comes and they notice that you exist. And they ask you out. And then within a few months, you do something silly to completely screw it up. And you go, how did I possibly do that? Now, again, I know no one has ever done that here, but you know stories of people who have done that kind of a thing. We do it everywhere. Now, sabotage is really simple, and what's interesting is in order to solve sabotage, it's the simplest thing in the world. It almost always comes down to only a few basic things. In fact, for me, I found there's really 5 major keys that when you address each one of these keys, cumulatively, you will get rid of the problems in your life. End of story. It's very, very simple. There's a lot of money in the world to be made in the last few decades about trying to make simple problems very complex and teaching you how to solve them. What I like to do is figure out the simplest way to address whatever it is we want to achieve in life and do it. Who likes to just do it? Anyone like to do it? Yeah. What is it? That's for you to decide. When you look at a problem, whatever your problem is, right? Can everyone think of a problem, a sabotage problem, or maybe some kind of a conflict problem? Now, I'll give you a few more examples. Would that help? I think it would help, yeah. All right, so think of different areas in your life right now. Think of either an area in life in your career, your intimate relationships, or your personal health. Think of the area in life of those three, which one is suffering the most right now? And if you're like a lot of people around, especially in the United States, probably one of those areas is suffering a lot in the last few years. I don't think anybody's been immune to the economy changing and the way it has been. Now, not everybody, of course, is suffering through that, but everyone has been affected in some way, shape, or form. Would that be fair enough to say? I think we've all been affected, whether we're business owners or employees out of a job, or most households, if they had two spouses working, now have one or less sometimes. So we've all had these effects that have happened. Now, what I believe is there's a huge percentage of our life that is completely 100% internally focused, internally directed. And there's also, of course, a lot of external experiences that come into play as well. So what I mean is, you have a problem. You go, I'm out of work. Shit. Well, now what am I going to do? Well, there's a percentage, there's a part of that problem which is, of course, external, right? It's the work dried up. Hey, it is what it is. But how much of that problem is also internal? There's something going on inside that's preventing you from getting out there. Someone is getting a new job today. Somebody walked in today somewhere in Orange County to apply for a new job and they got it. Somebody started a business today and made money. Somebody made a sale today. Somebody walked into a shoe store and bought shoes, right? So somebody spent money and somebody received money. So the question is, why wasn't it you? If you wanted to get that. I'll just fiddle with this new silly microphone. And we're doing this so I can record this and give you free bonus stuff later, because that's what I do. So somebody's always selling something. Someone's always making something. You look around and there's couples who are in great relationships. Someone's in love today. I'll bet you any money. What do you think? Do you think you could find someone in Orange County, 3.5 million people, someone's in love? Yeah. Could you find someone who just fell in love? Could you find someone who just fell out of love? Mm-hmm. Right? Could you find someone who is feeling amazingly passionate with someone that they're intimate with, and someone who feels like the passion is drained? Could you find someone who's totally in shape and someone who's completely out of shape, right? So the point is, you can always find an example of any of these things you want, but I always ask myself the question, if I want it, why isn't it me? And there's 5 simple things. And you might want to jot these down. If you have a pen and paper, you can. If you don't, I'll trust your subconscious mind to remember them in great detail, because that's what your unconsciouses do now, don't they? They always do. We remember everything we've ever been through in our entire lives. We just don't always know where we store it. The point is, we always remember it. It's always inside. So everything I tell you, you're going to remember inside easily. Of the 5 keys, I'm going to talk about one of them tonight, and this one is going to transform the way you understand your thinking. So let me give you an example. What if you had 2 different people, okay? 2 people, and one of these people, the thing most important to them in their career, let's say, is security. Someone else, the thing most important to them in their career is, adventure, right, or success, something like that. Do you think those 2 different people are going to have 2 different types of jobs, yes or no? Yeah. This is an interactive process, so I'm going to say something and you're going to go. All right. So do you think they have different types of jobs, yes or no? Yes. Yes, good. Do you think they drive different types of cars, yes or no? Yes. What is it? Yes. Yes, good. Do you think they would be in different types of relationships, do you think, yes or no? Yes. Different types of vacations, yes or no? Yes. Raise their kids differently, yes or no? Yes. Right? Live in different types of homes, yes or yes? Yes. Yes. Right. So what if I'm talking about, first off, what if they're married? Yes. You ever been in a relationship like that? Yes. Known someone like that? Yes. Oh, very interesting. So what's funny is, when you go to get into a new relationship, usually the first thing you ask, if someone says, hey, I want to set you up, you say, are they tall, dark, and handsome? Right? That's what's important. Now, what's really important, though? To me, the most important thing in a relationship is understanding what the person's values are. The most important thing to them in a relationship. And if one person is freedom and one person is deep love and connection, you're going to have a problem down the road no matter how nice it seems in the beginning. It's going to happen. Same thing goes into career. Same thing goes into our health. Now, what's interesting is when it comes to internal conflict, when I'm describing a couple, what if I was describing one person? Now, what I mean is, what if you had someone who was an entrepreneur, and the thing most important to them in business was success, but equally important was freedom? Now, hands up, who thinks that some people might go into business to get more freedom? Who thinks that might be something that happens? Honestly, right? If I ask virtually any new entrepreneur, how come you want to be a business owner? They're going to say, for freedom. I want to control my own time, my own schedule, right? That's what I want to do. And I want to work half days. Yeah, you don't realize that half means AM or PM. Which 12-hour shift do you want to work? Most people who start their own business work far harder than they work for a boss.
Got it down to 12?
No, but as a minimum, So here I am, and what's interesting is, I'll get this at some point. What's interesting is when I started this business, I had very similar values. Actually, my first business before this, I started a real estate company 10 years ago. And what I wanted to do in that place is I wanted to have a lot of freedom, and I wanted to make my own rules, and I also wanted to have lots of success. And what's interesting about those values is they created a massive conflict for me inside, and I didn't know it. And it showed up as sabotage. That's how it eventually showed up. So I'd show up to work, I'd show up to my office, and then I wouldn't call people back. And then I'd show up late, and I'd leave early. And, a past client called, and they said, hey, can you, sell my house for me? And they left a message. I didn't call them back. Come on. You know what? I'm gonna clean off my desk. I'm gonna take care of all that first, and then I'm gonna, go get the coffee and take care of that, and I'll straighten my desk a little more, and I'm gonna go delete some junk emails. And once I finish all that, then you know what? It's almost 4:30. You know what? I'll call them tomorrow. All right, I'll call them tomorrow. Now, this is a standard operating procedure for a lot of business owners. Then tomorrow comes, same thing happens. By 4:30, I say, you know what? I'll call them tomorrow. 2 weeks later, I finally turn the message over to one of my salespeople, and they call and say, hey, they already went with someone else like a week and a half ago. And I had the gall, of course, to say, you rat! I can't believe you went with someone else. Why would you do that to me? Damn economy is really getting me down. It's like I don't have any new business because of the economy. It's horrible. And internally, of course, I wasn't taking the action I needed to. And why did I do that, though? For me, I did that, come to find out years later, because I had those important values. I started to get my freedom to be a much, much higher value. So what's interesting is certain values, they have different directions of motivation. So what motivates you most? Maybe you've heard the old metaphor of the stick or the carrot. Where you smack the dog with a stick or the horse, whatever, or you give them the carrot in front, and either way it's going to be something that's towards motivation or and away from motivation. So what motivates you to get out of bed in the morning? What motivates you to go earn your income? What motivates you to go to the gym? Is it the six-pack abs you want? Right? Is it fitting in the bikini? Gentlemen? Or is it going, man, this is not working for me anymore. I need to get rid of some of this weight. I guess I got to go to the gym. You follow what I mean? Now, everybody's motivated in one of two directions, either towards what we want or away from what we don't want. And the thing we're talking about tonight are what we call our values, and our values are differently motivated in different directions. Okay? Now, they don't have to be good and bad necessarily. But when you think of a value like success versus freedom, just pretend for a second, for kindergarten's sake, bear with me on this. I know kids learn really easy with 3D, so pretend like, I'm going to pretend I'm a value, okay? And this wall over here is success, right? And that wall over there is freedom. Now, those are two things I desperately want. I want to have freedom, so I'm going to start a business, and I want to have success, so I'm going to start a business, right? I wasn't making enough money in my job, so I want to double my income by starting a business. But I also am sick and tired of going to a cubicle, right? I'll never go back to a desk again. Yeah, it's so noble, isn't it? Never go to a desk again. You find out without a desk, you don't really work. But I'm never going to go there again. So what happens is I'm going to move towards freedom because that's why I'm starting my job, right? My new business, So the more I move towards freedom, do you think I work harder or less hard? Which one do you think?
Yes.
So honestly, which one? All right, the more freedom I get, that means I'm doing things I want to do. So in my real estate business, this turned into, for a few years, like in the middle of the week, I'd be going up to the snowboard resorts, and I snowboarded, God, one year, like 100 days or something like that. It was just absolutely silly. I was up there all the time because I loved it. So that for me was ultimate freedom. Oh, I was all about freedom. How many new sales do you think that I created in my business that year? Very, very low in that time because all I cared about was this. I also was doing climbing trips and camping trips, and I was all about wanting to be outside, be with my friends, and I'd go partying and just have fun. And I had my entrepreneur lifestyle. I had the lifestyle I wanted. This was my freedom I had so badly. But at a certain point, I looked at this, and I looked at my bank account. And I said, maybe I should go back to work a little bit. So the more freedom I got, I freaked out because I didn't have any success in money. So, oh my God, you know what, forget, I got to buckle down. I'm going to get to work. I'm going to make success. And I started moving towards success, getting what I wanted, making money, and getting new clients and blah, blah, blah. But the harder I worked and the more success I achieved, and, you know, and to tell you where I was at 25 years old, I finally figured out I was a millionaire. I had $5 million in property all over the Southwest region. That was my personal stuff. And then my business was cranking, and I was doing pretty good. And it was great because I made a lot of money. And the year I made the most money, I remember, I also had like 7 cold sores in my mouth. I had the canker sores. My health was starting to deteriorate because I was working too much. I had almost no freedom because I wasn't going out and doing anything fun anymore. And, you know, for me, I had to figure out how to make that balance happen. Anyone interested in finding that balance?
Yeah.
Yeah, good luck with that. What's more important than that is being able to reprioritize what's most important. And that's what I'm going to share with you how to do tonight. Because the problem is not having success and freedom at the same time, because that's not what you really want. Trust me, you don't. That's compromise. That's saying, you know what, I'm going to have half of freedom and half of success. What that translates to is mediocre income with a somewhat flexible schedule that you're still chained down. That's not really what people want. We think we do, but we don't. That's called balance, and it's complete BS. It's the backstory, I call it. It's the story that we tell ourselves that we can get. And it's not something that's really obtainable. So that's one possible experience. Let me give you another example that you might be familiar with from maybe one of your friends. That was the quote mark in the air, the friends. Oh, and by the way, if I say a really bad joke, then you're also supposed to laugh to lighten the mood a little bit. So let's try that again. So sometimes your friends, there you go. Because I can't carry this all by myself. I need you to pretend I'm funny. Thank you. Appreciate that. So maybe you know a friend. Everyone do that together just to have some fun here. Everyone go like this. Okay. And maybe you know a friend. Okay, now look kind of awkward to the side. Friend, you know them, right? So maybe you know a friend who got into a relationship because they wanted to have a lot of love. Isn't that great? Right? A lot of people, they want that, right? You get in a relationship and you want to have love. And then a few months go by and you realize something interesting. You realize that the more love and connection that we get, sometimes the passion, the uncertainty, you know, when that you know, the music's playing, you're excited, you're feeling passionate. It's like, you know, your heart's thumping when you're with the person. You know that feeling, right? You've all had that at some point, maybe, right? And that feeling, you're like, man, I want that. This is, whew, it's special. That feeling tends to drop as the relationship progresses. Has anyone ever experienced that before? Now, don't look at your partner if they're with you right now, but has anyone ever experienced that before? Oh, yeah. Right? It drops down. And then what most people do is this. I have a friend of mine who for the last 13 years, he's 31 years old right now. So since he was about 18, he got into a relationship, and I could set my watch to his 6-month relationship. I mean, to the minute almost. As soon as it hits 6 months, something comes up, and he goes, you know, I just got to focus on school right now. School, and it's not being fair to her, so I'm just going to, you know what, and they break up. And then he's single for about a month to 2 months, and then he's having fun, he's excited to be single, he's going to school, he's doing his job, he's seeing his family, his friends, and he meets someone and goes, wow, you know what? I really want some love and connection. Let's do that. And he dates this person, and they date, and they get to know each other, and they become serious. And then about 5-6 months later, he's going, you know, money's low right now. I really need to get a second job. I don't have time for a relationship. It's not fair to you. You know what? And they break up, and he goes and gets a second job. And then after a while, he has the savings because he's not in a relationship, so he has savings. And he doesn't need the second job, and he goes and he's single for another 2 months. And guess what? He does this back and forth. So he wants relationship freedom over here, but he wants the love and connection over there. And what's interesting, of course, is you tend to get one or the other. Most people tend to get one or the other. It's actually an amazing art form to be able to produce the spontaneity and the freedom and the passion while you're seeing the same face every single day, year after year. Wouldn't you agree with that? It's an absolute art form. It's not impossible because many people have it. I've seen 80-year-old couples acting like they were freaking in high school together, making out in a restaurant. Like, you're 80! But they... what? But it happens. Secret is finding out what's going on for them. And when you sit down with people like that, the first thing I'll do is what we're going to do tonight. I'll discover what their values are. And when I discover what their values are, that tells me a very interesting picture of what's going on for them. So we back and forth, like my friend in the relationship. And some people don't break up. In fact, some people decide that they're going to stay married and cheat. Why? Because they still get the love and connection they want at a much lower level, but then they go, well, now I can get my freedom and variety because I can go with someone else, and then eventually that, they say, I'm going to be with you, and then they divorce, or they break up over here, and then now they're with a new person, and they're free and spontaneous, but eventually what happens to the free and spontaneous person? They slowly start walking this way. And then 6 months later, a year later, there's the same old sandwich again there. Same old person, every meal's the same, all the stuff's the same. And then they see someone new and they go, ooh, who's that? And that explains the behavior. I'm not saying it's right, but that explains the behavior of the back and forth that some people do. So, would you like to know what these values actually are for us? Do you think that might be useful to understand this?
Yes.
I promise you this. When you know what your values are, you'll have a simple map to move forward in one direction in life. One direction. Your values are, you can jot this down, your map. Very simple. Values are your map. Any goal you have, or what I call not goals, because some people have a goal like being a millionaire. Some people have a not goal like not being broke. So whether it's a goal or a not goal, whatever you want to move forward and whatever you want to do in life, your values tell you how you're going to get there, whether you knew it or not. Okay? Before I met my wife, I had a very interesting values list in relationships. Very interesting. Like, I would never date me, I don't think. My values list was number 1, freedom. The most important thing in a relationship is absolute total freedom. I can do whatever I want. No one's going to tell me what to do and where to go, and I don't have to commit to anyone, and it's great. And after that was like fun, playful, passionate, and something else like that. It was, all the same stuff. So the top 5 values of mine in a relationship were basically not relationship values. It was about being single and staying away from relationships. Any wonder I didn't meet anybody that I wanted to actually spend any time with, right? I met all sorts of the wrong people, but I didn't meet the person I wanted to spend time with. Then I went through what we call an NLP breakthrough. I used all the tools of NLP, that we're teaching one of them tonight. I used all those tools to go through with a friend of mine and go through this massive relationship breakthrough. I kid you not, 2 days later, 2 days, that's one. 2 days later, I met my wife Lola. I went to some random birthday party that I wasn't going to go to, and blah, 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 and fate would have it that I ran into her 3 more times. Completely spontaneous. I didn't get her number or anything. But by the 3rd time, we thought, something's going on. We should probably talk about this. And we went out for a hike, which ended up being a date. And, well, now my son's 10 months old today. And he's doing amazing, and she's awesome. And what's interesting is when I look at my values list, very, very different. They changed almost overnight. So, what exactly are these values? Well, jot this down. Again, if you have paper, write it down. If you have your mind, write it down. Tattoo it on your forehead. Values are 2 different things for us. The first thing values are is they tell us how we're supposed to feel about ourselves and others. So they relate to how we feel. So example would be, fix this once and for all. Example would be, let's just say you're in business, your number 1 value is honesty. And you had to work in the mortgage business in the last 3 years. How would you feel about, now if you got any sort of loans done, you probably, like many people, you probably did those stated income loans. They call it in a lot of circles the liar loans, where you lie about what somebody makes and then they get approved by the bank, right? Now, if you do that ecologically, I don't really have a problem with it. Now that's for you to decide, it's a moral thing, but if it's done ecologically, meaning they really are a good risk factor, it really is good for the person because it saves them a bunch of money, it's good for the bank because they're having a good rate that they're getting their return from, and it's good for you because you made a living. If it actually is helping people all the way around, but if honesty is your number one value in business, how would you feel about what you've done? Good or not good? Not good at all. What if honesty was important to you, but it was like number 5? Above honesty was contribution, success, and some other things like that, and loyalty to your customers maybe. And honesty was very important, but it was number 4 or 5, right? Out of thousands and thousands of values, it's still number 5, so you're obviously an honest person. But do you think you could find your way to say, you know what, I need to write something down here that's not exactly correct, but it's going to be a win for the bank, a win for them, a win for us, and a win for everybody around, and it isn't one of those bad ones, it really is a good one. Would you feel okay with that? Now, I'm not asking you morally, I'm asking you based on that values experience. Does that make sense? So they tell us how we're going to feel about ourselves and how we feel about other people. Okay, when I meet someone that has honesty as a number 1 value, what it usually means to me, I find people with honesty as number 1. Now, again, I'm not saying that if honesty isn't number 1, you're not honest, right? Because you can only have one number 1 slot. That's the thing. What about love? What about passion? What about playfulness? What about fun? What about success, right? Those all need to have a spot too. But when I find someone with honesty as a number 1 value, that usually means they've had a lot of liars in their past. When I find someone in a relationship and I say, what's important in a relationship? And they say the number 1 thing is trust, or not cheating, or respect, or honesty, things like that, that usually tells me, if I wager to guess, that their past relationships were less than honest. They had past relationships where people lied, or people cheated, or people disrespected, or abused, or something like that. Values give us a good indication of where we've been and where we're going, okay, in a big way. The other thing values do, so they tell us how we're going to feel about ourselves. Values also tell us what we're going to do, right? So they relate to how we spend our time. Remember, if one person had adventure as a number 1 value and someone else had certainty as a number 1 value in life, do you think they would go on a different type of vacation? Yes or yes? Definitely. Right? One person's going to say, you know what, I bought the plane ticket and we'll see what happens. Put on the backpack and let's go, The certainty person says, okay, I am here at the airport and I have my manila folder and I have my itinerary and my vacations booked. Anyone know the manila folder toting person, right? That's my wife, so it's beautiful. She holds our passports and the tickets and the hotel bookings and all the stuff. Before I met her, I just rock up to the airport and sometimes they would almost be like, hey, where are we going to go? Or I go on vacation, I show up and I land and I go, okay, well, where are we staying? I don't know yet. Well, I figured we'd get here and figure out which hotel's best, or maybe we meet somebody, or who knows? Now, that might not gel for some of you, right? Some of you are going, I'm having a heart palpitation right now just thinking of that. Whereas other people are going, that's exactly what I want to do. So how do you decide how you're going to spend your time? Your unconscious, invisible list of values. That unless you've done this exercise before, none of us have really ever come to a place where we've asked ourselves and figured out what our values are. They're just invisible, they're hidden, and they're well below the surface. They're like, maybe you've heard of the old iceberg metaphor. If you haven't, then it's new. But if you look at an iceberg out in Antarctica with the pretty little penguins on them, and I drew a water line, where would I draw the water line for this big iceberg here?
About a third of the way down.
Here? Here?
About a third of the way down.
Here? Okay, so let's go about like that, right? So depending on which study you read and who you believe, you might say somewhere around 5 to 95%, right? Meaning the majority of the iceberg is below the water. So when you look at this as a simple metaphor for our conscious mind versus our unconscious mind, all it means is when I ask you, what do you want in a relationship? And you're thinking, oh, I just want someone who loves me and has it'll be wonderful and beautiful. That's your conscious thoughts, and those conscious thoughts are up here. The problem is your conscious thought is not driving the bus. Your conscious thought is not steering your ship. Imagine that, for those of you who haven't been with me before, imagine that your conscious mind and your unconscious mind. You need to understand the difference here because our values live at the unconscious level. So your conscious mind versus your unconscious mind. Imagine your conscious mind is like a captain of a sailing ship, and your unconscious mind is the crew. Okay? Very simple, right? So if the captain says, let's go starboard, or whatever the hell direction that is. Let's go left or right, or let's go towards land. The captain barks the order. Does the ship automatically turn on a dime? Yes or no? No. What has to happen though if it's a large ship? The crew's got to roll up their sleeves and get to work, right? And they got to shovel the coal or trim the sails and batten the hatches and swap the deck and walk the plank. And it's a pirate ship, of course. But like the crew has to get involved and do this stuff, right? And if they don't do it, the ship's not going to go anywhere. The problem is so many times when you look at the combination here, the communication, what do we call it at the extreme when the crew loses respect for the captain? What's that called? Mutiny, right? They throw the freaking captain overboard. He's gone because he's been steering the ship in the wrong direction for too long. So what do you think happens when your conscious mind, your captain says, you know what, let's go get in a great relationship. And the crew says, last time we did that, we got hurt. Or, yeah, but I want freedom. And the captain says, well, let's go work out in the gym and let's go get in shape and the shape that we deserve and be healthy. And the crew goes, ooh, but that looks like a lot of hard work. And the captain says, well, let's go make a lot of money. And the crew goes, yeah, but what about my freedom? Or, oh, come on, man, I don't want to do all that. What about this? And what do I need to procrastinate? And eventually what happens is the crew gets sick and tired of the captain barking the orders that never happen. The captain, 10 years later, the captain wakes up in the morning and says, you know what? It's time to get in shape again. I'm sick of being fat. And the crew says, shut the F up. We're so sick of you saying that every day. For 10 years you've been saying that. Get off it. We're fat. Leave us alone. Right? The captain says, you know what? I think we really do deserve, this year is the year for a relationship. And the crew says, look, we deserve to be lonely. Leave it alone, okay? We've been rejected too many times. I'm not going to go there again. Screw you. I'm going to steer in the direction I want to go. Your crew, make it no mistake, is moving your ship in the direction that you're going. So think about right now, and get honest with yourself. You don't need to tell me, you can tell anyone else. Just for a second, think honestly for yourself. Inside, in your life right now, look at the results you're having right now in an area in life that's hurting. Whether it's your relationship and you're not having the results you want, or it's your health, you're not getting the results you want, or it's your finances. And as you think about that area in life, just ask yourself, what does your crew do? What plan does your crew have right now? Because I promise you, whatever direction you're on right now, whatever you're currently getting, very simply, there is a map in your unconscious mind that your crew has hold of that is charting in that direction. Otherwise, you wouldn't be getting that result. So this isn't a judgment of any kind. I have the exact same things in different areas of my life. But any result you're getting, you have a map for inside unconsciously right now. And remember I said there's 5 major keys. One of the major keys is your values. And those values are unconscious, and they're secretive, and you never know them until you explore and figure them out. And we're about to figure them out today. Does that sound good? Sounds good. Okay, let's get to it, shall we? Good, we still have time. So, values. What do I want to do next? I guess we should probably, we should see this done. You want to see it done?
Yes.
All right, let's figure out how to do this. So what I need for this exercise is I'm looking for someone who, everyone pick an area in life right now that you think is really screwed up and you want to fix. Or is doing great but you need to do a lot better. Think of career, health, or relationships. And from someone who picked either relationships or career, because it's easier to show, I want someone who, how do I say it delicately, is severely screwed up in this area. I mean, like, it is not working for you, right? Your relationship sucks, or you don't have one and you wish you did and you can't figure out why. You're worse than broke, whatever the heck's going on, but who is honestly really not enjoying the results they want in that area? Anybody? All right, Letty, hand up first. Hi, Letty. Hi. So tell me what's up.
I'm not in a relationship right now. The last relationship I was in, my boyfriend cheated, so after that I don't really trust any more relationships.
Yeah. It's funny, I could tell from your face before you even said anything what was happening.
I'm going to cry.
Yeah. Do you want to find out why you're all screwed up and fix it?
Yes.
Yeah. Now, I say that with the most love ever. So give Letty a big hand. Come on up for a second. Come on. And then give you a chair to sit here. Have a seat when you're ready to figure this out. All right. And I need one more person who can write really fast and somewhat legibly. Anyone can write fast and somewhat legibly? Jay, can you help me out with that? Thanks. Give Jay a big hand.
Okay.
Now, I'll do them on the board here.
You want English?
Yes, I want English.
Oh, okay.
Just in case we have 2 columns.
All right.
Enjoy. Okay. How are you?
Good.
Good. Well, you're not going to be in a second
Okay.
because I'm going to make you cry.
Okay.
No, I'm just kidding. Just kidding. But it's not my fault if you do get honest. Okay. So here's what we know. Right now, Letty has a map, and part of her map, there's 5 parts of the map. By the way, I'll give you the parts real quick. There's the emotional part, our past emotions, our emotions from the past. So if she feels, for instance, I'm just making this up, but she feels hurt about the opposite sex, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah. So she's heard about, who knows? She's heard about the opposite sex, or she has anger towards the opposite sex, or fear, or sadness, or guilt, or all of those. Yeah, and maybe some more. If she has negative emotions about the past, then, I mean, honestly, how likely is it that we're going to go meet someone new and project who we really are and say, you want to date me because I'm amazing, when all you're projecting is hurt, anger, sadness, fear, etc., right? So we need to release all the emotions from the past, okay? We need to release decisions and beliefs we have around that subject, around those people. Decisions like, guys cheat. Maybe might be something that you may have come to believe in the last little while. Has anyone ever known a guy who cheated? Anyone ever known a guy anywhere in life who cheated? Sure. Has anyone ever known a guy who's been faithful? Go figure, right? So it's not true, but we have this internal belief that it is true, and it's generalized to all men, right? And that's what happens when we have those negative experiences. So our decisions, our decisions and beliefs, our emotions, and our values, of course, are one of the most important ones. So right now, your unconscious mind is looking for a man with the map of your values that you don't know yet. So I'm going to ask you real quick, and I just want you to answer me right off the top of your head, whatever the first thing comes to your mind is. By the way, values are usually very succinct, very 1, 2, 3 word answers. Things like honesty and love and that kind of stuff. So what's important in a relationship? When it comes in now, not your last boyfriend, not your next boyfriend. This isn't your dream relationship or the one you had. When you think about right now, honestly, where you are today, in this moment, in the context of a relationship, what's important?
Honesty.
What's next? What's next? What else is most important in a relationship?
That they're caring, loving.
Caring. Is caring and loving the same or different? Is caring and loving the same sort of experience for you, or different?
I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know the difference.
Well, when you think about caring, are you saying
loving, more loving.
More loving. Okay, so so get rid of caring. Let's call that loving. And what else is important in a relationship?
That they make time for you.
So time. Good. What else is important?
God, I can't think.
That's right. Fast. So what's important in the context of a relationship in life? What's most important to you?
That the person loves you.
So the person loves you. Good. And does that come down to love?
Yeah.
Good. And what else is important?
That they have the same goals as you do.
Good. So same goals. What else is important? In the context of a relationship for you, what's important in a relationship? By the way, notice how much trouble she's having coming up with more than 3 answers. First part of the problem.
I don't know, honestly.
I know you don't know. But if you did know, if there was one more thing, what else is most important in a relationship? What's really important?
Faithfulness.
Good. What else?
Oh my God, I can't think. I don't know.
Good. Just go with it. What else is important when you think of a relationship?
I don't even know what I have.
You don't have to worry about that.
Okay.
So in the context of a relationship, I know that's everything you have, but if there was something else, what else is important in a relationship?
Let me see. Commitment.
Commitment, good. What else is important in a relationship?
Passion.
Good. Now we're thinking. Passion, what else?
I don't know.
Good. Now she's just doing what I call emptying out. She thinks there's nothing more, but there's always something more. So I know you don't know, but if you did know, I know there's nothing more, but if there was something more, what else would it be? What else is really important in a relationship? Come on, that one. You start to think about something.
I think a lot, but it's the same stuff I said already.
Yeah? Is there anything else?
I can't really think of anything.
Nothing else? Good. So there's nothing else, but if there was one more thing.
Did I say commitment, love, caring?
That's pretty much it, huh?
Freedom.
Freedom? Is that important?
A little bit.
A little bit? Good. Okay, cool. All right. Anything else?
That's all I can think of.
Okay, good. Give her a hand for trying so hard. Thank you very much. That was great. Now, hang on. You got all of your. Those are probably your current values list. Thank you, Jay. I'm gonna have you help in just one more second.
Give me a hang out.
You can sit. No, you stay right where you are. Right in that hot seat. So take a look at these for a second, guys. Honesty, loving and caring, having time, same goals, faithfulness, commitment, passion, and freedom. So take a look at this list right now. And I want you can see it clearly? Mm-hmm. Okay, good. So of all of these, honesty, loving, and you said loving and caring are the same? Okay, so I'll cross that out. So honesty, loving, time, same goals, faithfulness, commitment, passion, freedom. Of all these, what's most important? The number one most important. Quick, what is it? What's more important than anything? What's next? Right now.
Honesty.
What's next?
Faithfulness.
Next.
Commitment.
Next.
Passion.
Next.
Same goals.
Next.
Time.
Yep.
Freedom.
Leaving freedom. Good. Now this is pretty standard. Most people actually have somewhere around 7 or 8 to even up to words around 12 to 15 different values in their values list. Now there's no right or wrong way to do that. And what's interesting though is I'm going to have Jay, you're going to help me one more time. You mind? All right. I'm going to rewrite that list from 1 to 8 over here. Plenty of room. And if you look at the list like this of loving's number 1, that's great. Now is loving really number 1?
Yes.
I'm not saying it's not, but is it really?
Yes.
Yes? Okay, good. So if you only could have honesty or loving, would it be okay to have loving, not honesty? Or would you have to have honesty and not loving?
It's hard. I can't choose between those. I guess love first. Good.
Good. That was very congruent to her face. That's part of what we do in NLP is it's a lot of communication and a lot of unconscious communication. So I've been spending a lot of years learning how to read people and how to understand when someone's telling me the truth or not. And you are.
Okay.
Okay.
You didn't tell you to give her the lie detector.
No, well, you can't tell them that, otherwise they'll try to prepare. So we'll do loving, honesty, and all the way down. So she has loving.
You don't want to categorize first. You want me to go ahead?
Yeah, all the way through. So loving, honesty, faithfulness, commitment, and then passion. So one thing I see, we're going to talk about this after we take a break, is of course her values are what's driving the ship right now for the current relationship she's in, which is a not relationship, right?
That's true.
Yeah. How long have you been single?
About 2 years.
About 2 years. Okay. And what's cool is it's not your fault.
Okay, good.
Yeah. It is your responsibility, though.
Okay.
Yeah. We have a very major theme in NLP called cause versus effect. And to me, what it means is it's not our fault, but it's our responsibility. Everything in life, whatever it is. If I don't have the money I want, it's not my fault maybe because the economy sucks, but it's my responsibility to change it. Okay? So it's not your fault. You haven't been like sabotaging yourself on purpose or anything. But what's happening is your responsibility is that your unconscious values, these 8 values in this order and sequence, have been determining the type of relationship or not relationship that you get into. True? Mm-hmm. I mean, really simple. Now, how many people, not knowing who Letty is, not knowing how sweet she is and what a beautiful soul she is, if you saw someone, and a woman was behind a closed door and she said, well, I want to meet a man. But it's important in a relationship to me that you're loving, but also there has to be honesty, faithfulness, commitment. Passion's pretty important. We have some same goals. We have time for each other, and I guess we can be free for some things. But that's what's important. Do you want to date me? Gentlemen, how does that inspire, like, I'll do whatever it takes to court this woman? Does it inspire that?
Not really.
Loving, come on, be honest. It's not about her, it's about the values list.
Loving's good.
Right? Loving's good. But when I hear loving and then honesty, faithfulness, commitment, having these 3 values that high in her list, I promise you that comes out everywhere you go. And when you meet that special somebody or they meet you, you say it, you express it, you act that way, you whatever it is, you communicate that values list at some point in all of your interactions with men. And when they get that values list, the thing is mostly, we haven't talked about this yet, we'll do it after the break, those are probably mostly all away from motivated, or we'll call it negative in this case, values. Meaning, why do you want honesty? Because you don't want a liar. True? Right? When you think of honesty, do you think of like, oh, we're honest and sharing in front of a fireplace? Or when you think of honesty, you think of the ex? And you say, I don't want that.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, right. So I'm just guessing because I've done this so damn much that I don't have to ask her. I can tell. So we'll get to that next. So everyone here has a list similar to that. So what I'm going to have you do is, we'll do it right now because we have a break coming in about 10 minutes. So if you have a pen and paper, if we have some extra, do we have any extra pens and papers in the back? If we do, we'll get them to you in a second, so don't look for them, but we'll give them to you if we have them. We don't always have them. So if you have a pen and paper, I want you to take a second and just ask yourself, do a one-person exercise. Just say, the question is very simple. It's one question every time. Pick that area in life that's not working that well or the one you want to improve, and just ask yourself, what's important to me about this area? What else, what else, what else, what else? And just keep asking what's important until you can't think of anything else. And one little secret, if you want to do it honestly and well, like Letty did, if you want to do it honestly, do it fast. Don't stop and think. This isn't time to stop and strategize your ideal self and go, let's see, a relationship. What do I really want? See, if you do that, your conscious mind is going to come up with, well, we want love and passion and good sex and money and, I don't know, maybe, I want all these things. But if you ask yourself fast, like we did with Letty, you won't have time to come up with a BS answer. You'll come up with an answer that's fast, easy, it's exactly honest, and it's really true. So say, what's important, what else, what else, what else, what else? Write them down until you're out. Write them down until you can't think of any more, okay? Simple as that. And then, if you want to order them, you can do that as well. The second step would be to do what we did here. So you'll say, okay, look into this list. What's most important? What's next? What's next? What's next? What's next? Do this step as fast as you can. Anastasia has some paper and a few pens if you need one. Do this step as fast as you can because the longer you take, the more of a lie it will be. If you do this fast as you humanly can, it'll be a totally honest order of your values. And then we can have a conversation in the next half of class about what it means to be in that order and where you might find some sabotage or where you might find some conflict. Make sense? Anyone have any questions on that? All right. So you have, I'm going to give you really, really fast. Do it in about 5 minutes. That's all it should take. Just write down as many values as you can think of right off the top of your head. And then simply order them as fast as you can and then rewrite the order. Okay, I'll give you 5 minutes, then we'll take a break after that. Ready, go. And give Letty a big hand first off, please. Everyone give Letty a big hand. Thank you very much. But don't worry, we're not done with you by a long shot. Good.